This is something that I have been planning out for months in order to bring you this brand new mini series, Money Manifesting Secrets of the Rich. This is part 1, Dollars and Dreams. I'm starting out with 2 parts. And if you absolutely love it, which I'll know by you leaving written Apple Podcast reviews, by you sharing the show on social media and tagging me, then I will add more parts to it. And we are going to focus today on discovering the art and science of manifesting money as we delve into the secrets that have shaped the fortunes of the rich, including me. From lucrative investments to transformative mind techniques, this series is your guide to manifesting the art of abundance, specifically in the area of calling in more cash. So tune in and let's go on this journey together to creating your own financial empowerment so that you can have the life of your dreams and feel free every morning that you wake up knowing that you have option level cash at your hands to do what you want, when you want, and how you want. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. I am teaching you something today that has the power to absolutely change your entire money story for the rest of your life. The sad thing is, a majority of you will not follow this. You'll take in this information, you'll absorb it, you'll believe me, you'll like what you hear. But then when it comes into implementing it and having the consistency of implementing it, you'll fall off course, just as you probably do with some other things in your life. You've heard me say it before if you're a longtime listener of the show. Shout out to you guys, and shout out to my new listeners. Thank you to all of you for making this a top 15 show worldwide. I'm so grateful for all of you and appreciative of all the feedback and the topic suggestions you guys bring. And you want to make sure that you're on my Secret Posse Weekly Digest, okay? This is a free resource for you where I deliver an email to you once a week that gives you unique content you're not going to get anywhere else on handling all the drama and the noise that comes up in your brain around money, around self-doubt, around these fear-based behaviors like perfectionism, procrastination, comparisonitis, so that you have practical ways to deal with them. And then I include a lot of really personal stories that are going to help you. And I give you a mantra for the week, one that is actually like realistic that your brain is going to believe. Very similar to my abundance card deck, which if you're watching right now on ProjectME TV on YouTube, I'm showing it. This is my card deck. It's incredible. And I use the power of mantras, of affirmations, but I do it differently, where it has to be things that you actually believe. Because if your brain does not believe something to be true or highly possible, it's going to reject it. So no, it's not as simple as like, I'm a millionaire. Like, we don't do stuff like this. I don't know why this card came forward first. So again, if you're watching on ProjectME TV, you can see the card. I will read it for you here. For those of you listening, I'm capable just as I am today of having the wealth and freedom I desire. Boom, bang, done. This came up for a reason. You are hearing it, you are seeing it for a reason, but you want to make sure you are on that list, because my brand new first ever guided workbook course, which you might have seen it on my mug, Make More and Work Less, is coming out. You get first dibs on it. So we're having a shortened release, meaning it's a limited release. So there's a limited amount of copies that are being sold right now. And if you want first dibs on it, which trust me, you do, because we're doing a launch sale for it, that is incredible. You need to go to projectmewithtiffany.com/secret posse. This link is also in the show notes if you swipe up. It's also in my bio on Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany, and in the description on YouTube. So there's about 1 million reasons why you want to be on that. And that is one of them. Where was I going with all of this? I got all excited and off track. Plus, I also get distracted whenever I mention the workbook because I'm so freaking nervous about it still. And if you listen to the last episode that I did on how procrastination is an addiction, I share a very vulnerable story about myself and how long it took for me to put out this workbook and all the nerves I have about it. It's the scariest thing I've ever done. And for some of you, that's like, that doesn't seem scary. What you do, Tiffany, with a podcast, or what you do on YouTube, or what you do with videos seems scary to me. Everyone's different, but my lessons and what I teach, if I don't practice what I preach, then what the fuck am I doing here? You shouldn't listen to me. And that also keeps me accountable. I'm no different than you. I'm just further along in the journey. And I will say though, one of the differences of why I'm so successful is I show up regardless and I do the damn thing anyway. My stomach has been in knots for a week now over this workbook, but I still show up and do the things. I don't like crawl into a hole and not do anything. I still get stuff done. We have to learn to work with our fears and work with our resistances, which is why it was so important for me to put together the special mini series specifically on money for you. So not to say what I'm teaching you today and in this mini series doesn't apply to other areas of your life, because what I say all the time is how we do one thing is how we do all things. Even if you think, oh, I'm amazing in my work life, it's my dating life that's an issue, or I'm amazing with my health, but I'm messed up in the money house. If you really peel it back, there are some similarities. There's some common themes that you can connect the lines to. It's not as compartmentalized as it may feel. And I have broken down something that you can implement immediately. But like I said, without doing this consistently and prioritizing it, it's only going to work to the level and the degree in which you prioritize it, like anything fucking else in life. And some of you who are parents, I'm sure you've said this to your kids, like, you can't expect to be amazing at snowboarding or at tennis or at golf or any other sport if you only are showing up for it sometimes. Right? So why would any of the manifestation, law of attraction, best business practices, all the stuff I teach you of how to make money and get a ton of clients online, how would any of that work if you're only showing up sometimes? So first order of business is getting honest with yourself in a non-shaming way for what you're saying you want in your life. And my guess is if you're listening, you're wanting to make a fuck ton of money on your own terms, doing something that lights you up, something you love, something that feels fulfilling, something that's energizing to you, without having to trade all of your time and sacrifice your health and sacrifice your joy and grinding away, right? So you're saying you want that. And I absolutely believe you. And you're also saying you're sick of this, that, and the other. You're sick of feeling trapped by money. You're sick of feeling controlled by money. You're sick of making money for someone else and not yourself. You're sick of, dreading waking up every day on the hamster wheel and it's like Groundhog's Day and it's the same thing over and over again and you want off the loop. I believe you. And I know you believe that. But your actions aren't really matching it. Think of how insane that sounds. We have to call ourselves out on the insanity. It's like, really, I don't know why I'm picking snowboarding, given that I'm watching surfers surf these incredible waves outside my window right now, but go with me on it. If that was something you really wanted to get better at, but you only got yourself to go like once every 3 weeks. Okay, over time, right? Over a couple years, you might get, you might be decent at it. But what do you think would get you to your goal faster? If you prioritized it and you went 3 days a week, if you invested in getting a private instructor, if you then on top of it got in some kind of a group with other people who are at your level, eager and excited to learn, or if you went even further and rented a house near where those slopes were for 3 weeks and really went all in and were doing it every single day, that's going to get you there a lot faster, right? So it's your level of investment. And I don't just mean money, but money is part of it. It's time, energy, money, and prioritizing that thing. But you can also toe dip. And do I think you'll get there? You may not eventually. I don't know. That's just like leaving it up in the air. And if that's okay with you to change your money story and to create legacy level cash, and you want to leave it up to chance, that's a choice, but don't live in dreamland where you can just show up sometimes and end up with the abundance you want. It just doesn't work that way. So there's something that wealthy people do, people who have the cash, the freedom, all of that, and this includes myself, over and over and over again. And I had to reverse engineer it because sometimes we don't realize in the moment what we're doing. And then I reverse engineer things so that I'm able to refine it and teach it to you. And I have the privilege of being around a lot of wealthy people, as I am one, and interviewed many famous people, many highly successful business people, and they all do this thing. And it's something that I call a mental rehearsal. So it's vividly imagining your financial goals as if they've already been achieved. So you're mentally living in the reality of your financial dreams, which then strengthens your belief system around it, which then makes it easier for your goals to materialize. And I'm going to break it down because I know that's like a big chunk right there. It's like, okay. And your nervous system right now, your ego might be going, oh, so you're going to say like you think your way rich, Tiffany? Well, if you are going down that path, that shows a block you have right there. Yeah, everything starts with a thought. This podcast had to start with a thought. You even having kids started with a thought. Me wanting to change my hair started with a thought. Me living in this multi-million-dollar beach house started with a thought. A dream is a thought. So let's break this down. I like bringing things down to an acronym simply because it's easier for you to remember. And I have, as I've shared before, I have difficulty with short-term memory from having complex PTSD. So I have a lot of tricks in order to remember things. And one of them is acronyms. Okay, so this mental rehearsal is broken down. I call it the REAR, not rear as in butt or rear as in rear-ended, REER. Okay, so the first R, and the order of this is imperative. Relaxation techniques. And this is very unique to you. Okay. What works for me might not work as well for you. You have to experiment and see what truly relaxes your nervous system. And how do you know your nervous system is relaxed? Your internal organs feel relaxed. That's the best way for me to put it. Your stomach isn't clenched. Your throat isn't tight. You feel like you can breathe deeper and easier. That is truly the best way to know that you're relaxed. Like, have you ever taken like a nap where it was like such a deep nap and you wake up and you're totally kind of out of it from the nap and you feel like jello? It's that kind of a feeling. So if we don't get our nervous system, our parasympathetic nervous system, as they say, ignited and into that state, we are still in a fear state. We're still in tension. We're still in ego. So a fully relaxed state, you're in abundance. You can receive in that state, meaning you can receive money, you can receive ideas, you can receive divine downloads, you can receive creativity. This is why meditations are so powerful. This is why a lot of people love doing yoga, sound bath, breath work. This is why all these things work so well for people. Taking baths. You see me often on TikTok. I'm submerged in water of some source because that really helps me. My Fall into Abundance guided walking meditation series. That's why I've created these series for you, and they're absolutely free. That link's in the show notes as well. And what those do in a matter of minutes is it gets you into a space of relaxing your nervous system. Even if an hour later your nervous system is ignited again because someone pissed you off in traffic, you got an email that stressed you out, whatever, someone got your food order wrong, which really nothing irritates me more when I order Uber Eats or DoorDash and it's like you're paying that ridiculous fee. And then in comes that order, man, and you forget my sauce. I'm a sauce condiment gal. Okay. Shout out to my fellow condiment whores. And you miss the sauce. I got the salad for that dressing. I got that chicken dish because of the fucking sauce. And now the sauce isn't there. I can't eat the thing. And I want a full refund. But if you go to get a refund just for the sauce, they'll give you like $1 back. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I got this from this place, like it's like a treat for me where they have this amazing, I love Argentinian steak. Shout out my Argentinians. We're like top 5 in Argentina. You motherfuckers really like the show. And it's funny with my internationals, when you look at some of these countries where it's like, I'm like the number 1 business success money show by far. And I get great feedback and I'm told and I'm very curious always on feedback, but it's my pacing and tone of voice and in how I explain things when English is not your first language. Apparently, like I'm very easy to understand, which is delightful to me because I want to be able to reach people from all over. Anyway, there's nothing better than like Argentinian. Brazilians do meats very well too. And there's chimichurri sauce. I think that's how you say it. I love me a chimichurri. Well, let me tell you, this is an expensive delivery order, and they did not put in that sauce. There's no point in me eating the steak. I'm not going to eat it. Give me the damn sauce. Why am I going off on this tangent? I don't know. I guess my point is this. You not getting into this relaxed state would be like you having the salad without the dressing, you having this delicious steak without the sauce that is best paired to enhance it. You're fighting against it. Yeah, you can still eat it. Yeah, you can still manifest. Yeah, you can still do it, but it's not going to hit. Okay. And I know that was a wild analogy. That's what you get on this show. Okay. Like, this is how wild my brain is. So, whatever that takes for you is to get into that state. I need you to be deliberate about getting into that state. It's daily. And I know some days everything goes off the rails and maybe you're not able to get in it to the end of the day. It's okay. Nothing I teach you have to be perfect at. In fact, perfection is not required. Being imperfect is actually a requirement. So something I do when I'm intentionally manifesting is I take brain breaks. That's very productive. I need you to start seeing relaxation as being a productive thing. So I will sit here and literally stare off into space, just like maybe you did as a kid in school when you're daydreaming and just staring out the window, totally zoned out. I allow my brain to rest. Now, I have some other clients, my old mentor, who's worth over $100 million. I actually learned this from him by observing him and then asking about it. He didn't teach it to me. I'd ask him about. That's why I said a lot of people who are very successful aren't even aware of the things that they do that have got them there. This is why they don't teach it. And this is why I do, because I take the time to study it in others and study it within myself and reverse engineer it so you can do it. And he would do mundane tasks that, of course, being worth that much money, he never needed to do laundry, but he would do laundry. He would sand and paint furniture. He would clean like all the windows in one of his many houses. And doing that allowed him to have a brain break because those activities are on autopilot. They don't require much bandwidth, but it was just a hint enough of distraction to allow him to distract himself into bypassing the ego and having a brain break. So, those of you who have ADHD, this could be very helpful. It could even be like watering your plants, but it also goes to like my walking meditations, right? Like the walking is a form of a distraction versus just sitting there. So I need you to get into that state. That's where all the best stuff happens. Okay. The first E, I need you to engage in your senses. I want you to visually imagine the scenario you're wanting to call in by engaging all of your senses, not just the appearance, how your life is going to look, but the sounds, the smell, the taste, the textures that are associated with achieving your financial dreams. How is it going to feel in your body? What's it going to feel like to wake up in that house that money is going to buy you? What's that house going to smell like? What is the trip you're going to take? What is that going to feel like? What's your luggage going to look like? What's it going to even feel like? I want you to go into as much detail as possible. And during this mental rehearsal, I need you to focus your entire attention on this visualization process. So eliminate distractions in order to immerse yourself in it. It's like Alice in Wonderland. You have dropped yourself into your own manifestation wonderland. This is how I manifested having a second house, having a multi-million-dollar beach house. I came down here. I walked the Strand. This is what it's like their fancy term for boardwalk. I walked it and walked it and walked it. I smelled the air. I would even buy a coconut body spray that I would spray on myself. I would get saltwater spray for my hair. I would imagine what it would feel like waking up and having my coffee, looking at the waves, how it would feel walking out on a deck and being able to see the ocean, how it would feel to even podcast like I am right now, looking at the waves crashing with a palm tree perfectly in front of it. You know, I'm literally looking at my manifestation while I'm talking to you. And we always welcome even better than we've ever imagined, right? Like there's things about this beach house that I'm in that I didn't think of, right? So we have to trust the universe to do that. And that's part 2. We're going into the divine timing, trusting, detachment, all of that stuff. So stay present with me on this first. And maybe you get an essential oil that resembles the smell of abundance for you. Is there a texture of clothing like satin pillowcases? Is there something about like maybe it's a certain coffee mug that feels very abundant to you that when you drink out of that, is there a certain way that like your facial expression just looks like? Is there a certain way you even carry yourself? I want you to even carry yourself that way when you're walking. Like there's a casual confidence I've always attached to having, I mean, you could call it fuck you money. There is. And a lot of people will say that about me. I'm very chill. I'm very casual, but there's a confidence about it. And I embodied that before I had it, right? Like, you don't have to be showy. You don't have to be like pulling up in a Porsche or anything like that. But it's like, I don't have to be here. I choose to be here. I can leave at any time. I'm here because I want to be here. I'm intentional about it. And knowing that I can walk into a store, and this is also a fun way to get yourself into this too, is knowing you can walk into a store and buy anything you want in that store that doesn't mean you need to be like cocky with some kind of a big ego, but there's something that you have a certain kind of swagger when it comes to that. And this goes to the next E of emotional engagement. Okay. So you're connecting the positive emotions that you're feeling. This is all about feelings, emotion, feelings, emotion, feelings. The positive feelings associated with you achieving your money goals. What is that going to feel like? Joy, gratitude, peace, a sense of ease. And I like practicing this in real time. You can go to open houses. You can go to a car lot. You can walk into a store. You can do this on an abundance walk. You can do it by closing your eyes and sitting in a bath and imagining you're in your dream primary bathroom suite that you've been able to design. One of my visualizations for my brand new guided workbook course coming out was I'm picturing just thousands and thousands of you having this in your hands and doing it and being like, oh my God, this is so fun to work through, like carrying it with you to a coffee shop, working on it, taking pictures of it, tagging me in it. Like, thank you for creating this, Tiffany. Like, this is something that was missing in the world. This is so helpful. And how that would feel to me. And if you're watching me on YouTube, you see my face, right? I automatically feel lighter and delighted and so privileged and honored to be able to serve you in another way. And what that ends up doing is it feels so good knowing the outcome, knowing that's how it's going to feel. It it will then motivate me, encourage me, and force me to do the stuff that I have resistance to because of fear or because of laziness or because of other things, because I want that end result so badly and it's so juicy and it feels so good. Then the R is repetition. And this is where a lot of you fall off, right? We've got to have repetition and regular practice. This mental rehearsal is not a one-time exercise. Wealthy individuals practice it regularly, ideally every day. Repetition strengthens the neural pathways associated with your desired outcome. So reinforcing your belief in the possibility of achieving your goals is only going to magnify it and bring it to you faster. So visualizing your success in the quiet moments, visualizing it before sleep, visualizing it before waking, visualizing it by walking, by meditating. And it sends powerful messages to your subconscious mind, shaping your beliefs about wealth and success. And you have to create space to do the rear, as I say. And when challenges come up, when things come up, you're not great at tech, Tiffany, or you're not a great writer, or how in the hell are you going to be able to afford a second beach house in one of the most expensive beaches in the world in Los Angeles with the taxes, with all of this? When that comes up and those things come up, that's great that they're coming up because they're able to come up because you're putting yourself in that scenario. Otherwise, those will hold you back. So when those come up during that mental rehearsal, now you can anticipate the potential challenges and visualize yourself overcoming them, right? Like it's a proactive approach, which will help you build resilience and confidence in your ability to handle any setbacks or anything, right? So you can even visualize yourself, God, how am I going to be able to afford this? Notice I said how. Right? How am I going to be able? And in that relaxed state, it's like, well, you could do this like with my beach house, the first beach house I got, because I rented when I rented that first one, it was like 15,500 a month or something like that. That's insane. I used to make $17,000 a year. This is 15,500 a month. That's wild. And during this, when I was like, how am I going to be able to pay for this where it doesn't feel scary? Like, could I have paid for it and been up against it? Sure, but I don't want that life. That's not abundant. And I had the idea that I can have mastermind events there that pay for the cost of it. And then therefore I can make the rental a tax deduction because I'm using it for business and to make money. I wouldn't have had that thought. No one who I pay to coach me gave me that idea. And I have some very smart coaches and I have some very smart friends. And I presented this to them. And now they were lovely and said, I'm sure it will come to you because they believe in me, but no one gave it to me. It came to me because I was able to incorporate the problem solving into this rear. So let's say you're going, oh, but I don't even know where to start. I don't know the tech stuff. Okay, then it's how. While you're in that state, how can I create this online business that I want to do, or create an e-commerce store, or I want to create a coaching brand, or I want to be able to help people with blank? How can I do this even though like tech is not my strong suit? Well, imagine yourself going through that. How can you? What do other people do who don't know how to do anything? Do you think that chick who created Spanx knew how to manufacture her product? She has no fucking idea how to do that. You start researching, you start asking, you start finding people to help you. You find a way. There's always a fucking way if you really want it. And the way will come to you when you are incorporating those challenges, right? Like if you're like, oh, my market is so saturated, I want to be able to do this, but so many people are doing it. Well, then ask yourself, how can I stand out in a saturated market? What can I do to stand out? And it might not come to you in that day one of you doing this rear. That's why you have to do it consistently. That's why you have to prioritize it. Maybe it comes in week 2. Maybe it comes in a month. Maybe it comes the next day. You can't force it. And this is the ticket to everything that you want. Every single thing I have has come out of this rear. And I'm so excited for you to start doing it. These are practices that we further dive into inside my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership. I did release 7 new member spots because we got an influx of people wanting to get in who couldn't get in the membership. I have it capped at a certain size, so it's not always available to get in. And I released 7 new ones. This is the last time I'm releasing new membership spots like this year, and 5 are already gone. So there's only 2 spots left. We combine the strategy in there, literally how to, from scratch, from $0 to $15,000 a month, how to make money online doing something that you love while working less and making more. And part of it is we incorporate all of this money noise management and abundance work in that as well. You can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/projectme posse, swipe up. It's in the show notes. It's in the description on YouTube. So I would make sure you get there and then go sign up for my free Secret Posse weekly digest. And that's projectmewithtiffany.com/secret posse. Give me feedback on part 1 of this episode. And part 2 is going to really focus on you detaching from pining for it, from wanting it, from the timing. When is it happening? Nothing seems to be working. What's going on? That money gremlin in your head, the fear gremlin in your head. We're going to work on that in part 2. But trust that I am releasing this incredible technique to you. I'm pacing it deliberately and intentionally, and go practice it. And if you notice yourself not doing it and procrastinating from doing it, get curious about why. Why would I not prioritize something that Tiffany has studied for years and years and years and years? And it emphatically works. And emphatically works not just for her, but for many, many, many successful people. Why wouldn't I do it? And not in self-judgment, not to beat yourself up, not in shame, but true curiosity. What's going on here? Because that doesn't make sense, right? It's either you don't really want what you say you want that badly, you just feel like you're supposed to want it, or there's a belief, there's a subconscious belief thing in there that you believe that no matter what you do, you're not going to get it. And we have to work through that. Because if you believe somewhere in your system, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that no matter what, you're not going to get it, well, then you won't get it. You have to flip that and go, no matter what, I am going to get it. It's abundance is equal opportunity here. It's equally available for everybody. Now, some of you might go savage on me where it's not some poor starving person who's living in a hut in a remote country in Africa. And I would say that's fair, right? Different set of circumstances. But there are gazillions of stories in the world. Many have turned into books and documentaries and amazing films of people where every goddamn thing was stacked against them. And they're still here. It's the access to this type of information and trainings that might not be there, but it's also the divine intervention. There's a lot that's occurred in my story, which some of you guys will be able to get a more personal touch on that in my guided workbook course, but I shouldn't even be alive and I'm here. I've had a lot of privileges too. I'm aware of that. And you have a lot of reasons that you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be this far along. We can sit there and focus on all those reasons, but you're alive and you're here today and you've gone through what you've gone through and you're going through what you're going through to serve a higher purpose. And I really hope you can stand by and believe it, because I believe it for you. I just need you to catch up and believe it for yourself. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.